Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
The pipeline dispute escalates as Alberta stops importing BC wines.
The issue with this is that now the Alberta government is interfering with private business.
The future LRT car is on display, but the proposed track is stirring controversy.
I'm going to miss my clients because they're not going to follow us to the other side of the city if that's where we have to go. Plus, leasing rates are going to go up.
The Muslim Student Association holds Islamic Awareness Week throughout the city.
Be an ambassador for awareness and fighting ignorance.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. Alberta is sending a message to its western neighbor by boycotting BC wines.
Yes, the decision comes after BC's decision last week to limit how much diluted bitumen is going to be shipped from the west coast, which could jeopardize the expansion of the Trans Mountain Pipeline.
I'm afraid we have no choice but to stand up and defend Alberta's interests.
Premier Rachel Notley fired back this week, banning imports of BC wine effective immediately. It's a move that one local wine specialist believes will not only hurt BC, but also businesses here in Alberta.
Alberta has evolved to develop essentially the best wine selection of any province in this country. And that's because private importers make those decisions. The issue with this is that the Alberta government is interfering with private business.
In 2017, Alberta imported over $70 million of BC wine. BC is urging Alberta to stand down.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
After years of waiting to see the LRT network expand across Edmonton, this week 2 new routes, one real and one speculated, are coming forward.
Yeah, there is talk of the LRT sometime in the future going down to Whyte Avenue, but the more pressing impact is the next leg of LRT travel and its impact in central Edmonton. Matthew Churchill joins us live from the South Lobby for more details.
Thanks, guys. Well, commuters are welcoming the idea of public transportation expanding in Edmonton. There is a little bit of a cost being paid here. Business owners on Stony Plain Road in a certain area are feeling like in the expansion they're losing out.
Yeah, the train looks awesome and the passengers will really like it.
Call it a glimpse of the future in mass transportation. This bus LRT car hybrid has an open area at the middle entrance and will run at the height of the curb to make it easier for bikes and people with disabilities to enter.
I was in Phoenix and they had the surface train idea, and I think it's a good idea.
This is the train that's going to be used for the Valley Line LRT. It's going to be able to get people from Mill Woods to 102nd Street in as little as 28 minutes. Very convenient for those passengers who want to get from east to west very quickly. However, for some businesses down at Stony Plain Road, it's not going to be so convenient. Tony Ablumas's clinic is on Stony Plain Road. The building he's in may have to be demolished to make room for the West LRT route, leaving him and other businesses in the area frustrated and uncertain for their future.
This corner 142 and Stony Plain Road, the side that they've decided to actually expropriate and take over is the actual only really viable side right now. Across the street is more or less, I think there's only one business across the street, but that's not being touched.
Just a few doors down in the same building, owners of Honeycomb Hair are feeling the pressure of the city too. Even if they stay in the same area when they move, they aren't sure it will be quite the same.
This is our neighborhood. We've built our lives here. And the fact that we might have to relocate and move out of this neighborhood, I'm going to miss my clients because they're not going to follow us to the other side of the city if that's where we have to go. Plus, leasing rates are going to go up. So that's our profits are going to take a huge cut. I don't know if we can afford to stay here.
The city says it'll be about 5 years to complete the West Line Valley LRT. But for Tony and Krista, they may be affected a little bit earlier than that.
Matthew, are there specific reasons as to why the city chose this route for the LRT?
Yeah, Tony, it comes down to if people work, play, and live in that area. Also, if there's other LRT and bus routes there, and if there's potential for redevelopment in the future.
Could the proposed route for the West Valley Line be changed?
It's not set in stone, So City Council is going to look into whether certain key intersections need to be raised or lowered, and it will go to City Council in March.
Thanks, Matthew. That's Matthew Churchill reporting live from the South Lobby. There is a new way to do business on Whyte Avenue.
Some businesses are opening their doors in back alleys. Our Stephen Smith has more.
Thanks, guys. If you've ever heard of a European hole-in-the-wall type diner, then this might strike your fancy.
We get a phone call maybe once every day or two from someone who's on the front side of the street on Whyte Ave saying, "Where is your business?"
Sugared and Spiced is a bakery that doesn't have a traditional front door.
Our only entrance and exit is here out the back.
For the past 4 months, they've served customers tucked in off the alley. Old Strathcona Business Association hopes this trend will change Whyte Ave.
We're just excited about, I guess, the opportunity to have more of something that's kind of breaking the rules. I think that's something that's kind of uniquely Old Strathcona. It's kind of interesting that the rules of what a storefront is changing, and that storefront doesn't always mean it's facing your main street.
The Holy Roller, a cafe and bar across the alley, is doing the same. Their goal, to make Edmonton more vibrant and pedestrian-friendly.
We'd like to turn the entire alley into like an art alley with murals. We just want to add color to the city.
While this quaint project is getting attention, it raises questions about delivery, garbage pickup, and the state of the alleyways.
Our back alleys take a real beating in the winter, and the more pedestrian traffic that's back there, the cleaner we'll keep it.
I think it would make it a little harder for sure. Because all of these are so close together, we really need this area for parking our trucks. So if they block all this off, we got to figure out another place to park.
Now, we did talk to people on the street, and there is mixed feelings about a store in an alley. It's going to take a lot of effort to get past the stereotype of a dark, dingy alley. Back to you guys in the studio.
Fascinating story. Thank you, Stephen.
That's our Stephen Smith reporting from Whyte Avenue. The Council of Alberta University Students is calling upon the province to stop the rise in school fees for international students.
We're looking at close to almost $1,500 and cost increases just for international students.
Reid Larson of the Council of Alberta University Students says the increase is exploitive of students and harmful to Canadian universities.
Even 5 years ago, when we saw increases to international students' tuition, those increases would come along with an argumentation that was providing more supports. We've kind of abandoned that. We've gone straight to just covering budgets and using international students as what the term has kind of grown here as cash cows.
The organization fears the tuition freeze has become a long-term plan and hopes the province will release their review of post-secondary funding so institutions may plan better.
The Education Minister, David Eggen, is looking for new members to join his youth council.
Can not only be a part of progress, but the second family.
Minister Eggen was joined by the current council to inspire students of all backgrounds to be part of next year's group. Roughly 32 junior and senior high school students will have the opportunity to help shape Alberta's education system.
These are students who are actually in the education system now, so who better to ask how we might make improvements or adjustments to education than the actual kids themselves.
You have a voice and you should use it to change the curriculum and the education system so you can make a positive impact.
Students can apply on the Alberta Education website before March 30th.
Islamic Awareness Week took place across many campuses, including NAIT, to dispel myths about Islam. This week-long event, organized by the Muslim Student Association, aims to clear misconception about the religion and its followers. Campuses across Canada, including the University of Alberta, participated in promoting Islamic awareness.
If you take home the message of Islam, like what Islam really means, then you could kind of be an ambassador for awareness and fighting ignorance. And that's like a great thing.
The year's event was at the Shaw Theatre, featured accomplished religious scholar Rita Badir, and examined knowable truth in a post-truth world.
If you dream of running your own business in the fashion industry, the U of A can suit you up this fall. The University of Alberta School of Business and Department of Human Ecology will offer the Bachelor of Science in Fashion Business Management. The program is a hybrid of both faculties and was formed to provide students the best of both worlds.
The solution will be, let's try and see if we can create a new program that kind of combines the best of both. So an opportunity to have the fashion studies program, but also enhance the business side of the equation.
Some courses in the program include design principles, economics, and textile sciences.
Edmonton is tackling climate change and will host a science conference to send a global message. With global emissions on the rise, Edmonton is revving up for the first inaugural Cities and Climate Change Science Conference. The three-day event involves a partnership with post-secondary schools in the city, including NAIT, and will feature 800 international guests.
Climate change is possibly one of the largest, if not the largest, challenges to ever face our species. This conference will, more than anything, demonstrate that bottom-up leadership coming from communities and cities to tackle complex global challenges.
The free event will take place at the Shaw Conference Centre from March 5th to the 7th. Visit edmonton.ca for more information.
Don't be surprised if you see your trash on a piece of art in the coming months. Leanne Olson has arrived to the Edmonton Waste Management Centre as its first ever artist in residence. Olson's degree in film and media helped her beat out 25 local artists for the 6-month contract.
What I'm excited about is to be near waste for 6 months, because I think waste is a part of human existence, but it's often not talked about. I'm excited to show what it looks like, and I bet it's aesthetically pleasing in a certain way.
Olson will experiment with different platforms for her art, including Instagram. The Waste Management Centre aims to connect in a new way with Edmontonians and provides Leanne 80,000 square meters of workspace.
Coming up after the break, people of all ages walk to celebrate Winter Walk Day.
Why a cold walk is not only good for your body, but also your mind.
Physical standpoint, but also from the mental health perspective as well. We know that winter walking and winter activity in general is just really good for us.
In sports, I take a look at the NAIT women's hockey team, the world's longest hockey game, and I tried my hand at a little underwater hockey. All that and more coming up in a few minutes.
It's going to be perfect weather to get outside and enjoy the winter wonderland this weekend. I've got your weekend forecast coming up.
Interesting posts, updates, and conversations right where you want them. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and like us on Facebook.
NR92, the station for the students.
Chilly images. I mean, it's so cold here, Brendan, that on my way to the studio, my beard literally froze.
Really? That's crazy.
It was crazy.
Going out without a beard warmer. What's the forecast like, Isabel?
Yeah, guys, it's been pretty cold these past couple of days, but thankfully this weekend it's warming up. I have your weather for Saturday. So we're starting in Calgary. We're going to see a high of 1 and a low of -15. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be beautiful, so you can go out and enjoy the weather. Now moving on to Jasper. We're going to see a high of -5 and a low of -18. It's going to be mainly sunny. It's been snowing there a lot the past few days, so it's going to be a great weekend to go outside and enjoy the slopes. Now we're on to Fort McMurray. We're going to see a high of -9 and a low of -20. It's going to be partly cloudy. It's going to be pretty cold, so you might want to stay inside if you're in Fort McMurray this weekend. Now on to Edmonton. We're going to see a high of -3 and a low of -16. It's going to be partly cloudy, but it's going to be a great weekend to go outside and enjoy that weather at the Silver Skate Festival or doing whatever outside. Now on to the averages. Normally our average at this time of year is a high of -4 or a low of -13. And our record high for this year is 10 in 1889, and the low is -43 in 1884. So thankfully that is not the case this weekend. So go out, enjoy the weather, and back to you guys.
NewsWatch Weather is brought to you by NR92, the station for the students.
Thanks, Isabel. With the weather well below zero and the wind blowing hard, that hasn't stopped Edmontonians from stepping out and braving the cold.
Brendan, staying active during the winter months should continue to be a priority for all Edmontonians. But Winter Walk Day encouraged YEG to get out and get active, as our Odell Nelson has the story.
Walk! Don't be afraid of winter walk!
Winter Walk Day is but just one of an annual province-wide event that is held on the first Wednesday of February each year to encourage Albertans to stay active during the cold winter months. Councillor Bev Esslinger was joined with Julie Cornway from Walk Edmonton to celebrate its 12th year.
Part of that whole get the kids up and out and active in the winter at all times of year. So it's spread, and now not only do we have thousands of people across Alberta walking, but we across the country actually.
For some Albertans, trying to get active is not an easy task. As with the holidays long gone, leaving and arriving back home in the darkness discourages people from heading outdoors. For some, it can take a toll on the human body, as some symptoms include sadness, increased sleepiness, or lack of energy. Experts say that a simple walk to school, work, or even around the neighborhood releases feel-good hormones like serotonin and endorphins, which increases your chance to be out more often. According to the Centre of Addiction and Mental Health, 35% of Canadians have the winter blues, and in that, only 2 to 5% will have severe cases at the same time each year. For NAIT student Sebastian Perez, the winter doesn't affect him as he parks 7 blocks away from campus. It's just one of the ways he tries to stay active.
During the winter months, I go downhill skiing, I go out for runs, and sometimes I do cross-country skiing.
With daylight hours gaining each day, we know that winter is soon coming to an end. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Odell Nelson.
It's been a busy week of sports in Edmonton, but truthfully, I can't wait for underwater hockey in this week's End Zone Challenge.
Yeah, I heard Darrell went down to the Kinsman for a little dip. How'd that turn out, Darrell?
Well, you guys got to stay tuned. But before that, we got to get to some NAIT women's hockey team action as they took on the Olds College Broncos this past Friday at the NAIT Arena. And boy, they did not disappoint. Fans braved the cold and snow to cheer on the girls and even brought their dogs to watch with them. Olds would snag the first goal on the road with an unassisted marker by Tori Chenier, make it 1-0 Broncos. NAIT would tie it up 6 minutes later with a goal from Elitsa Mihalakova and take the lead 54 seconds after that, with a tally from Jen Gakel to put the Ooks up 2-1. Pick it up a few minutes later, Kendra Hansen grabs the loose puck and makes a nice move at the blue line before burying her first of 3 on the night to extend the Ooks' lead to 2. Olds would get one back on the power play, with Crystal Wilson jamming home her 4th of the year, cutting the Ooks' lead to just 1. Vertsa Kusalova would add another for NAIT late in the first period after a fortuitous bounce off a Broncos defender. The Ooks would head into the intermission up 4-2. The second and third period was all Ooks as they would add 3 more in the second and the third and take this one easily by a score of 10-3. After the game, Hansen commented on her performance.
Oh, it honestly feels awesome. Like, I love hockey, and it just feels unreal, like, coming into the dressing room and, you know, all the teammates supporting you, and it feels good.
The Ooks are now in sole possession of first place in the ACAC with a record of 16-3-1. Imagine playing an entire NHL season worth of hockey in just 10 days. Seems like quite the feat, but that's exactly what 40 competitors started this morning for the world's longest hockey game. This will be the 6th game being played since the inaugural one back in 2003. The event is held in support of the Cross Cancer Institute, with this year's donations going towards Profile, a project that helps genetically identify what type of cancer a child has to be able to treat it. Dr. Brent Sake hosts the game at his own property and explains how the game started.
The game started when my dad, he was dying of cancer, and as that was happening, he was going to the Cross, and he wanted to keep kids out of the Cross Cancer Institute. So he said, try to do something through your life to try and keep kids out of here.
Sake hopes to raise $2 million this year and once again take the record from a Buffalo group that currently holds it. The Eskimos made a couple major transactions last weekend, and it involved a couple of fan favorites. The Eskimos traded defensive end Odell Willis and then released a Darius Bowman a few days later. Many fans were not happy with the transactions, especially the release of Bowman. They took to social media to give thanks to Adarius and all he's done for the community and organization. Eskimos GM Brock Sunderland spoke about the recent transactions at a conference on Monday.
I mean, that's the lifeblood of this organization, and when you have two premier players who are the face of this organization, who are great in the community, who've made Edmonton home, of course it does, and it was not easy decisions. And again, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier, is my job is to make the right decisions, not the easy ones. So I wish they were all easy, but these were very difficult decisions to make and difficult conversations to have with both players.
Adarius Bowman has since signed with division rival Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Going back to the hockey theme, I found out that water doesn't need to be frozen to be able to play it. For this week's End Zone Challenge, I tried out underwater hockey. Before I could jump in, I had to make sure I knew all of the equipment that was needed. So in underwater hockey, the equipment's pretty basic. You got your fins to help you swim fast. This is their stick, little unconventional compared to a real hockey stick, but curve goes towards you, as I'm told. Helmet for a little bit of protection. And the snorkel little outfit, so you can breathe, kind of see the play. And then the gloves, so your knuckles and fingers don't break. After the equipment check, I realized I should probably practice on my own before I embarrassed myself. I knew I wasn't going to be the Connor McDavid, Michael Phelps cross I wanted to be, but with practice, I might become that. I started with scoring to see if I had the natural touch, and after a couple goals, I knew I did. With shooting in the bag, passing was the next skill I needed to master. After a couple touch passes, I knew I was also master of that. With these two skills controlled, I was ready to play with the pros. Or so I thought. Turns out I'm a ways away, but the experience was something I will always remember. So if anybody wants to come try underwater hockey, when and where do you guys do this?
So we play twice a week in Edmonton, and almost every major city in Canada has clubs. In Edmonton, we play Monday nights at Peter Hemingway at 7:30, and like you're here right now, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock at Kinsman.
Now that was just awesome. I loved every second of it, but the best part, those pipes, baby, those are awesome.
You know, you swim like a fish. You're a real natural.
And I wanted to keep the hat, guys, but they said rental only. Can't take it home.
It's all good. That's Darrell Stranger making a fashion statement in this week's End Zone Challenge. Coming up after the break, we head to the food bank to help out in a time of need.
We filled hampers and learned about why they need donations now more than ever.
People just are giving a little bit less in general.
When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year, NR92 will be there for you.
We're here for it all.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Join your friends on NR92, the station for the students.
NewsWatch clothing provided by Action Air Mold and Asbestos.
NewsWatch music provided by Martin Mayer Productions.
After the holidays, the Edmonton's food bank sees a big decrease in donations, Brendan.
So this week, Tony and I swung by to lend a helping hand.
Who doesn't like popcorn?
After a quick crash course on what is needed to be packed in each hamper, we packed basic staples such as cheese, bread, and potatoes.
The need is all year long. The need doesn't stop because it's January, February, April, May.
Just a box of cereal can mean more than anything because some kids don't have that. Some people don't have that.
If you want to know how to donate or volunteer, visit edmontonsfoodbank.com for more information.
There were a lot of things going on in YEG, but there's one event that's making me hungry.
We took a look at Canada's national food this past week in entertainment.
A popular winter festival for families is back at Horlock Park and starts today.
A mucus right on the edge of your nose, right? Fellow runny-nosed Edmontonians and our guests.
The festival is a free, family-oriented 10-day event at Horlock Park. This winter celebration blends sports, recreation, culture, and showcases various skating disciplines.
It's such a multifaceted festival. There's a blend of arts, culture, recreation, and sport. We offer something for everyone. We're offering an opportunity for people to get outside.
The festival is the longest-running winter festival in Edmonton. Activities include skating, horse-drawn sleigh rides, and sitting by an open fire. The festival runs until February 18th. There's a show happening at the Edmonton Expo Center this weekend that will put you in the summertime mood. Opening on the 8th and ending on the 11th, the RV show is back at the Edmonton Expo Center. There's over 400 RV units on display, including tent trailers, fifth wheels, and diesels.
When people come to the RVDA show and they are wanting to connect with their families, the lifestyle that they experience amongst the camping environment is just second to none.
At the show, you can get expert camping advice and be entered to win $500 in a free camping package. The RV show is the largest premiere in Western Canada, showing RVs, services, and accessories. Tickets are sold at the door or online at Ticketmaster. If you're feeling hungry, Canada's national food has a whole week dedicated to it. The 6-day annual festival was full of cheese and gravy as 7 different restaurants across Edmonton participated in this event. This is a way for restaurants to show their uniqueness and their creative side while bringing something new to the menu.
The Poutine Festival is getting people a little bit excited about what kind of poutines that restaurants in the city are coming up with. It gives a good chance to other restaurants in the city to put some funky toppings on and call it their own.
The winner of the festival was Panisa with their cowboy poutine. Annihilation is coming to theaters in February, and it's one you won't want to miss.
Can you describe its form?
A biologist is determined to find out what happened to her husband that was severely injured in an environmental danger zone. The moment she crosses into the danger zone, everything seems beautifully peaceful, until they find an animal that has been crossbreeded, which shouldn't be. Once they board a houseboat, the danger finds them. We have a pass for 2 to see this movie, and it is being given away to the first person who tweets to NAIT NewsWatch where the filming for this movie began. NAIT NewsWatch will also be giving out a movie poster the second person who can tweet us the answer. That's been your look at entertainment. Have a great day, guys.
A NAIT baking instructor is being recognized as one of the world's best after a trip to Paris to compete in a prestigious competition.
Alain Dumonceau was the only Canadian among 6 other competitors invited to the baking category of the Masters de la Boulangerie. It was a 10-hour-long competition where he baked over 184 pastries from 34 recipes. Marta Gold, NAIT's media relations specialist, explains how his hard work has paid off.
And now he's finished as one of the top 6. So it really speaks a lot, I think, to the quality of the instructors that we have here at NAIT, and then personally to what amazing skills he has.
The results of the competition were announced on Tuesday with only one winner from each category. Dumonceau did not win, but can still consider himself one of the best bakers in the world. And that's been your look at NAIT NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us, and see you next week.